with actually a bunch of dudes in a box costume.
The most devious of mimics.
This box seemed to be just every bit as agile as you are, if not more. So you have no worries about it following you all the way back to where the bartender is. If you're worried about it being able to follow you.
I'm not worried about that.
I figured you weren't.
I'm worried about it not understanding subtlety, perhaps, or actively having hostile intent. Those are things that have yet to be determined.
Well, it would seem that it's following you and no one else. But you can clearly tell this is not another mimic. This seems to be something else. So do you all make your way back to the bar, or do you want to do something else in the cellar? Also, yes, Annabelle, have fun with your garden gnome.
Very bit that mentioned something about like that's following you forever. I'm like, oh, what was that? There's something else.
All of us are gonna have companions by like 5 sessions in.
I will, Annabelle. The garden gnome is following you by biting your of your and just holding on, being dragged along the floor.
It's okay. It's a non-lethal bite.
She'll see if it's more interested in like, maybe being on a shoulder or in her hat or.
No.
Okay.
It is biting the tail end of your dress and being dragged along the floor.
Okay, well, it'll do its thing. Yes, I vote we head back to the innkeeper or the tavern keeper, whatever establishment.
Works for me.
Time to skip time. You are at bar.
The man of arbitrary executions.
I am a bottle again.
You are a bottle, and the chest is perched on the same shelf that you are, knocking all the other bottles off.
Subtle.
The chest once again retracts its legs.
If I see it start to move like that, I'm gonna sit under the counter rather than up on top.
Yeah. I will say that during your escape into the bar again, the way you came, you saw it walk straight up and upside down and all that with no difficulties. Vertical surfaces are no problem for this thing.
I see. Disconcerting.
Annabelle!
Yes?
You're sitting at the bar, all of you are sitting at the bar waiting for the bartender. Up on the counter and just stares at you. That's all I wanted from that.
What's staring at us again?
The gnome.
Oh, very good.
Of course.
It seems to have taken an interest in your interesting eyeball. Your extra eyeball.
I can't say I'm too surprised.
After a little bit of waiting, the bartender comes in, looks at the group, looks at a chest that wasn't there before that's there now, and looks at your eyeball. Your extra one, Annabelle.
The bonus eyeball.
Well,
yes.
I guess a lot of shit happened, huh?
You could say that. There was, quite a lot that happened, yes.
Upon seeing the chest there, Vex, before you could say anything, he picks it up quite effortlessly and puts it on the counter, but when he picks it up, the legs come out and try to squeal out of his grip. He puts it on the counter, it jumps off the counter and sits back right next to you. Well, you gonna tell me what that is?
It's some sort of artifice or contraption.
You know what? I don't even want to know.
That's pretty much the extent that we know of it.
Yep.
You got any evidence that you completed the mission? I'm supposed to ask for that before I pay yous.
I believe we did collect evidence.
I believe somebody picked up scraps of wood from the mimic creature thing. Does anybody remember who that was?
Probably
Doesn't
Dreamer.
matter. Boom! Put it on the table.
I cough one back up.
Oh no. The the bottle of whiskey all of a sudden coughs up a giant plank of wood.
Yes.
Don't worry about
Exactly. You understand.
He picks up the plank of wood and he's like, good enough, I suppose. According to my contacts and your contacts and the people that hired me to make sure you did your... You know what? You were allowed to keep everything you found in that cellar, and I'm supposed to pay you 5,000 gold for the party. Now, Vex, you're with them now, right?
The bottle is going to glare at him, but then after a moment, kind of nod or like tilt itself back and forth.
Cool. And I can give you 6,000 for the party.
Well then, so was that 6 divided by 5, or are we still doing it by 6? Because
It's 6 divided by 5, I believe. Who would the 6th one be? Am I missing it? No. 6 divided by 5, yes. Vex's share was 1,000 by itself due to it being a special mission for Vex person. The chest. The thing.
so Vex gets 2,000, everybody gets 1,000.
You could split it evenly or do it that way, up to you how
Okay.
you want to do it.
I'd assume we'd want to split it evenly.
Well, according to math, that is 1,200.
Per person?
Yes.
Oh, that's a hefty bit of gold.
How much?
Yeah.
1,200.
Now, Annabelle, was it?
Yes.
Do I even want to ask why you have a third eyeball?
She looks
And
up
why
at
is
it.
it looking at me?
Isn't it fantastic? I've never had a bit of living flesh attached to my ensemble before.
Have you met the bishop?
Oh boy, I've had too much to drink today.
More like not enough.
Well,
But
Is that
I'm,
limited? Is that limited to today?
I'll congratulate you on your good jobs. I'm supposed to point you the ways you're supposed to be going. And then I'll see you next time anybody wants a job done. The bartender gives you your gold and kind of looks at the eyeball and the chest and just rubs his temples and walks into the back.
Quick question before we move on. How rowdy is the bar right now?
There seems to be no people in. It seems
None?
that he closed it specifically so you wouldn't be seeing Vex and the rest of the party could be in.
Oh, okay. So I can talk openly. Excellent.
Yes.
In that case, I am going to ask. So you don't know anything about, and then kind of point toward the big chest that's following me around.
Well, I know there was a chest in there. But this is not what I was expecting.
Well, this was the other chest.
Well, I knew this one, a magical one, but
Hmm.
this is a bit more than I was expecting.
Oh,
That seems to be a running theme.
I
Also-
can't. I don't suppose you've gotten it open.
also, Mythos is gonna take out the lockbox and the scale and the key.
We-
Asking,
As
do you know
soon
anything about
as
this?
you pull out the key, the second you pull out the key, his eyes grow wide. Well, I'll be darned! You found a monkey key. Those were stopped being made a long time ago. Got a bit rowdy with too many of them around.
So what's it for?
You've never before.
I have never heard of this item before.
Hand it here.
All right.
He takes the key and he holds it in front of his face and said, he says 3 words or 4 words. 4 words. I have a task. Let me. All of a sudden, the key becomes a monkey. The monkey looks at him expectingly. He says, "Go fetch me a bottle of whiskey." The monkey climbs up, gets him a bottle of whiskey, and promptly turns back into a key. These keys were once widespread in these parts. They're assistant keys you can think of. You can get up to like 4 monkeys per key, I think, at any one time, and you get 1 use per day. You can tell these monkeys to do anything you want. They'll assist you in combat. They'll help you accomplish any task you need doing, and they disappear after an hour, regardless if they finish or not. Called monkey keys, cause I guess you can see why.
Well, that is-
Also, I suppose I could have just told you all that without using your once per day thing. Here's your key back.
Once per
and
day.
Mythos will immediately pocket it. It's like, well,
So, Galarian, that key, once per day, you can summon 1d4 monkeys, and these monkeys will give you a +5 to any roll other than attack roll that you're trying to do each. +5 per monkey for 1 roll. That's considered
Okay.
a task. This task will, if once completed, whether the roll is successful or not, they will return back to the key or into a key. They can do combat maneuvers, and you can send them out on errands to help you do stuff like that too. After an hour, they will come back to the key.
okay, send that to me and I'll pee him later.
Yes, I will. No, it will not last keys. But I had thought of that while making this key.
But it'll let you cast brass monkeys, those funky monkeys.
And bend.
You can't ban me, I'm a mod.
Rocks fall.
Well, remember, I have -4 brownie points. It's written on my character sheet.
The eyeball imposes another -1. It's creepy.
Fine, -5 brownie points then.
There you go.
Yes, and Annabelle will look at the chest and look at Dex. Is this also a mimic?
No. I don't know what it is.
That's
I-
a little
But he
disconcerting.
also said the bartender, but do you know anything about this? And he holds the lockbox.
He takes a lockbox and shakes it very violently. He hears nothing, and he looks through his drawer of keys and slowly, one by one, tries to open it. And he's like, "Yep, nope. All I can tell is it's worth a lot of money. The box itself, what's in it's probably worth more, but I don't know how to get in."
I could have tried all my keys.
Have you tried the spare one under the rug?
And just to confirm, you aren't aware of any stories or legends or rumors about something being contained in a box like, I guess, either of these?
Well, there was one around these parts. There's like this object that nobody can really see, but it still exists, and it's still an object that you can hold, but even holding it, you can't see what it is. It's really weird. And it's really dangerous if you use it wrong.
We have one of those. That wasn't in either of these boxes.
Was it a gray, like, amorphous shape?
Do you pull it out? Whoever has it, do they pull it out?
The
when he's talking?
ambiguous
Yes,
object.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Like this one?
As soon as you pull it out, he jumps back like 20 feet. Holy cripes! What are you doing with that?
That was in the same
Put
box.
that away!
with-
I found it.
Put it away!
You really
Okay.
need to keep better track of dangerous items in your territory. You have an infestation, sir.
Well, it's mine now, so
You know how many dangerous items there are in the world?
5.
Do you know how many dangerous items are in your town?
5.
How am I supposed to keep tracks of that? All
Well,
I know
there's-
is there was this weird chest somewhere. My town's pretty large. That ambiguous object that somehow you're holding and it hasn't exploded yet. And there's a few other that you're not privy to. But yeah,
Well, it sounds like of the 5 dangerous objects in this world, 4 of them are right here.
I did not say there were 5. Whoever said 5 is a complete moron.
You didn't say how relatively dangerous.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to dangerous, that ambiguous object that refuses to be not ambiguous is dangerous.
And what is it?
Okay. The point is it's ambiguous. Nobody knows what it is. All we know is that the other ones that looked like that kind of exploded and killed a lot of people. Because somebody started messing with it. And apparently it didn't like that, slapped them, and exploded.
like
All I know is the stories.
like literally slapped.
Slapped him.
Does it look like I've been slapped and blown up?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I
Oh,
honestly
Countless
cannot
times.
tell. I 100% believe you would survive that.
All I know is the stories. Those are dangerous. Nobody knows why. Or maybe other people know. I don't know
Intriguing.
why. A lot of people don't know why. Most of the people that do know why because they died. From the thing.
So I'm carrying possibly a doomsday device. Got it.
Quite possibly. Don't
Well,
mess with it unless you know what you're doing.
It's got
So
3
now-
charges.
We now have 3 items in our party that we don't really know what they do and might kill us all.
Yes.
Annabelle pets the garden gnome.
Oh, just wait until I level up.
4, of course.
Wait. The gnome is the gnome's on the counter, and he points to the gnome. Please keep that thing away from me. There was an infestation about 20 years ago. I didn't know any of those buggers were still alive.
There was an infestation now.
They're
Was?
still around. Oh boy. Wherever
Well-
you found it, you can keep it. Keep it with you. Don't let it out of your sight. They multiply. That's all I'll tell you.
Well,
Do
it
you remember where the rest of them went?
They all exploded into little pottery shards after getting stomped on by mysterious magical mimic creatures.
Alright.
yes, this one's the lone survivor.
He tries to push the gnome off his counter, and the gnome bites his finger. Gosh darn!
Well, I suppose that concludes our business here, does it not?
Well, I suppose it does. I was supposed to tell you that you're free to roam around the city, and that there's a mission board that you can look up to pick up some extra cash if you need it. Otherwise, you're supposed to head west whenever y'all's ready.
Ooh, side quest. Let's go.
Also,
Is there
according...
any particular place we're supposed to be going that's west of here?
I ain't supposed to tell you. West is all I'm supposed to says.
West is kind of vague instructions.
Are we supposed to remain as a unit as we do so?
Well, it was implied by my superiors that they would like you to stay as a group. For some reason.
Mysterious reasons.
So we can all be executed at the same time.
I don't suppose yous all working for the same government peoples, are yous? You're all from different factions, yes?
I would find that very hard to believe.
I think I'm the only one from my faction. Oh,
No,
that's-
it's me and it's me and you, Clint. They're
Oh,
in the same
okay.
faction.
I thought it
So,
was.
after you
Okay.
tell him all your factions, he'll be, well, I'll be darned. You're the plan.
The plan?
I said too much.
No, please elaborate. I like knowing which chess
what, I'm
piece
gonna
I
say-
am.
I'm gonna say that laughter was in character.
Alright, Hagrid, whatever you say. Can I roll a persuasion check?
You can.
Alright.
I will.
Have decent persuasion.
I'll also like to try to roll persuasion, even though I suck.
I guess I'm giving you
Okay.
information that's wouldn't have given you otherwise.
When he says that, Annabelle looks at him and, you know what? She'll turn on her feminine wild and be like, well, if we're to be a vital part of this plan, don't you think we need to know what this plan is?
Do you also waft some of your perfume smell into his face?
If he doesn't mind the smell of the grave.
New. New
It's
from Justin
new-
Bieber, The Grave.
was
Hey,
like,
I got a charisma 16. All right, she's
dude, it's like the newest scent from Garnier. It's like the newest scent from Garnier. That
Yeah.
Mortiz.
There we go.
Mortis.
I'll be right back.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Remember, Annabelle's a bit thick.
What'd you say, OC?
Annabelle, she's a bit of a thick girl.
But is she gummy thick?
That's with 2 C's.
Yes. And also with a K.
Oh, that I don't know what to make of.
I'm trying to tend to these
Just-
grays with the clap of my. And I'll just stop right there.
Yeah, you can't even finish that joke.
Thank you, Nat 20. Appreciate the timing.
So this, now I wasn't taking notes
about to
before.
say- I was about to say it would take a miracle to get through that thick skull of his, and lo and behold,
When you don't say you need a miracle, you get the
Iron
miracle.
Jesus bestows upon you the natural 20.
The dice.
Yeah,
Truly is what makes this whole thing a magical adventure.
sometimes. Other times they cause sanity damage. Sometimes
I
at the same
need
time.
to use the restroom really bad. If Broxus gets back before I do, catch me up.
Okay.
Okay.
I was also going to run to the bathroom.
Okay, I'm back. Where did I leave off?
Derp and OC went and ran to the bathroom quick.
Okay.
But yeah, you were telling us information that you weren't going to tell us
Oh yeah,
before.
Derp and OC need to be there.
Yeah, I know. I was just reminding you.
Okay.
I have returned.
Hey.
I was about to say those exact words.
Hey.
Campbell.
Okay. Well, I guess I could tell yous. You know how there's this war going on with the plants and the tech and the plant tech and the tech plant and the union and all that malarkey?
Yes.
I believe I've heard
Yes,
of
the
it,
fifth faction, the workers union.
There is a plan which kind of wants to undermine the war effort as it is and bring all the factions together by starting with one group. Yours is the trial group for that. Yours under the radar. Hopefully you don't get caught and executed, blah, 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 blah. But you'll be doing stuff, and they're seeing how it works. If you're successful doing what you does, more and more people will be as you're calling it the world government.
So
Working name.
let me get this straight. We are an experiment to try and bring a peaceful
Unify the
resolution.
entire planet. Yes.
So no pressure.
No pressure at all. Don't get executed.
Execute
just-
order
that's just
66.
Good life advice, really.
Annabelle becomes thoughtful at this information.
I would suggest not being seen together once you enter the main city. That might raise some questions.
I do own a shop, and there's a back entrance into the shop.
Then I suppose I suggest that you use that as your clubhouse. He puts up 2 fingers and does the quotation thing.
I, for one, think this is... Well, Annabelle looks serious for a minute. I've been exposed to the horrors of this war for quite some time. If there's a chance that we can bring an end to this, I
If
believe it's worth an attempt.
If your leaders were to be caught undermining their respective factions, it would spell execution for a lot of people. And Vex, the king sends his regards and says to play nicely.
I am going to curse him out in Ancient Mimic.
Well, I don't know what you just said, but it doesn't sound nice. So I'll attempt my best to report back to the king what you said.
Please don't.
Now,
We shouldn't even be having this part of the conversation in the first place.
the king said his presence is not entirely a secret. And now these are your friends, so the king says hi.
I see. That is unexpected.
Well,
And in my opinion, foolish, but I suppose it's not my place to judge.
I'm also supposed to warn you that several of the cults are nearby. I would advise caution when going west. It would seem, as soon as it opens my little thing here, I'll be able to tell you which ones are near. It seems the Pact of the Raven has been witnessed nearby, Keepers of the Bell, and the Gallivanting Band of Bards. All have been sighted near here. The Bards you can go talk with. They're fine, we think.
I
But,
suppose
the rest of them, watch out.
these are all names with which you are overly familiar with, she says to Vex.
He's actually telling the whole group this. And Annabelle, you would know the most coming from the city, and Mythos, you too.
I don't
Oh.
think I know any of these.
Mythos,
on.
you know because of your noble family, and Annabelle, you know. These cults are outlaws of the megacity that travel around the waste in large caravans, basically. Some hundreds of people, some thousands, some maybe 20, 30.
Got it. They're Tuscan Raiders.
The Pact of the Raven, you know specifically because they come to headbutt with your religion a lot, Annabelle.
Okay.
They are
Then-
specifically a warlock cult, comprised entirely of warlocks with a mission of casting the world into the darkness spell. They
Well-
want the entire world to be shrouded in darkness.
Literally.
Literally.
Well then. In that case, you...
They have no other goal to do that, and your religion doesn't like it much.
Not exceptionally, no.
I also said, which ones? Keepers of the Bell? The Keepers of the Bell, nobody knows much of them, except they seem to be all blind monks that tell of dangers ahead. Nobody knows if they're dangerous or not, but no deaths have been reported as a direct contact with them. They seem to be all blind monks wandering around yelling about the dangers coming. And the Gallivanting Band of Bards is a bard group led by a very charismatic bard.
As very good.
That's all that's known about them. They seem to come around often and provide entertainment.
And by
Then Annabelle's
There's no ulterior at all.
comment will be the exact opposite of what she just said, and say, "Well, ask Vex if she happens to be familiar with these various parties, or anybody else for that matter, who is here."
I mean, I'm assuming I'm not, but I suppose I could make like some kind of roll for it.
Ethereal,
Yes.
you have had contact one time with the Raven, the Pact of the Raven, and you are quite familiar with the leader of the Band of Bards.
I'm quite familiar with the leader of the Band of Bards.
Because you are also
Eyebrow
in
wag.
one place.
Because of what?
You are also a nomad type of person that doesn't live specifically in one place. You find yourself traveling with the bards a lot.
Oh, sweet. I'll
So
ask.
if the question was asked, do anybody know about these? So you know information about the bards and a tiny amount about the ravens. Not much that you could add, but the bards you could add a lot. Like who's the leader, of which you know. You know the leader. I sent you this information.
Did you?
I did. Not recently, but it's there. I'll send it again.
Yes, please.
Buried somewhere in the annual of
And I would
history.
know about somebody's to be through my noble house, right?
Yes, your noble house in working, not working with, but very, very, very against the Pact of the Raven due to the Pact of the Raven starting in your region. That's where it was born.
Got
It
it.
was other nobles who decided everything should be darkness. The nobles somehow got a evil sugar daddy.
But I mean, that's Warlocks for you.
But you are very personally acquainted with the Pact of the Raven. None of you have ever encountered the Keepers of the Bell. You've just heard that they're a bunch of wailing old men.
Gotcha.
I wonder if any of us have heard the bell.
How much longer for session, by the way?
We were due to end at 11. It's 10:13 now, but if you're tired, we can end sooner. I don't have much planned. I can finish it up.
I'm a bit tired and also very hungry.
Then perhaps ending session on the way to our next objective is prudent.
Yeah.
Let me just finish things up, let you RP a little bit, and then we can end.
Okay.
One thing I can tell you about the Bell, Keepers of the Bell, is I know a guy in them.
You do.
He was low.
What would you say? You like got cut out?
He has a few less screws than I do. But he used to run the bar with me until he got all kooky and predicted the end of the world.
Until he got all kooky, you say.
And then if you run into him, tell him I sent you, and he'll be real kind, and they'll take you in. So I don't think you have to be too worried about the bards or the bell, but if at all possible, stay away from the Pact of the Raven. Unless you want your eyes gouged out and
I'm
darkness
all
cast upon your location.
I'm all too familiar with the Pact of the Raven.
Yes, my faith has very little to do with them.
Also, Annabelle, you get another negative brownie point for saying what I was going to say before I got to say it.
-6. Let's go.
Boo.
Stop stealing my jokes.
Sorry.
Now I can't even say it anymore. God dang it.
Mythos
That's
says, but Mythos says yes. The Ravens. They originated from my lands.
Oh, they did.
Right? Yes, they're a parasite.
Well,
And I long for the day in which they breathe their last.
oh, wonderful. I was worried you were gonna ask. You were gonna be one of those people who are like, well, belonging to being a cleric of the grave, aren't you interested in the world being shrouded in darkness? Which I would say no. Why would you think that?
At this moment, a raven flies in and lands on the sheriff mayor's bartender's head and pecks him a bit.
I cast guidance.
It does no damage, but he says, "Ah, you're back. I need new information." The bird leans into his ear, whispers something in a language you can't quite make out. He's like, "Oh, that's not exactly great information."
So I can't make it out.
No, this doesn't seem to be an actual language, more of a code.
Oh.
But I did see 3 cults were spotted nearby. A 4th one was spotted directly in the direction yours need to be heading.
Oh.
This one's not. He pulls out a notepad and notepad. He pulls out a pen and paper and writes a ridiculously long description. Not really, but he writes a description of them. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. The shroud have been sighted, not sighted, seen, probably seen, something like that nearby. All I know is you don't meet them and come out of it alive, or we think. Everybody who's kind of run into them hasn't come back, kind of.
Well, sounds like our journey to the west is a dangerous one.
Quite. And to that end, I have a few magic items for you. He hands you a bag. I will tell you what's in the bag as soon as I find my note, and that'll be between this session and the next session. I'll PM or I'll post in the group what you all get.
Okay.
Well,
And I also have a suggestion. Go south first and then head west in attempts to avoid both Raven and Shroud.
it seems reasonable enough.
One of which is inevitable that you'll run into, but try not to get killed.
Would you say, Lena?
I'm vaguely reminded of New Vegas.
Yeah.
Well,
you need to go around and I mean, you could try heading up to New Vegas.
Annabelle!
could we perhaps stay the night?
Of course! I've got rooms, food, and drink. I'll even close down the whole thing for you, so Vex here can wander freely without being skewered on the spot.
Unnecessary, but that is appreciated.
Annabelle, gosh dang it, so many things in the beginning relate to your religion. Why'd you do this? Anyway, Annabelle, you
Happy to
also
help.
know of the Shroud.
Oh,
You know vaguely that your church believes almost exclusively that the Shroud is entirely made up of phantoms and demons. All of which are incredible businessmen who kind of contract people's souls. That's what your church believes.
well then, I suppose
And
my
your
church would be.
really hates them.
Yes, they're almost anathema to what we are. So, at hearing the shroud, Annabelle's look of disgust is not shrouded. It's very easy to see, and she will share this information.
But yeah, whenever people see the Shroud, they see glimpses of well-dressed men that don't stay in one place for very long without fading in and out of reality. That's what people see when they encounter the Shroud at a distance. Nobody knows what happens when you encounter them at like not a distance because like nobody's been able to report back.
Could you make a post of these cults and then pin it for future reference?
As I will post them as you discover them. So Raven,
Cool. Just because, if you offer we play again, it'd just be nice to have that as a reference.
yep.
Well, Annabelle stands up. And if that's the same, then I shall, retire to a room. I have some things to attend to this evening. Religious practices and such. That said, she turns towards Vex. I must admit you are an item of extreme curiosity. Please forgive my inquiries. I suspect I shall be offering many of them.
That's fine. Just understand that not everything I may be willing to answer,
Well, I suppose that's
or for that,
perfectly
or
fair.
for that matter, able.
Well, if I should,
And I think I will retire for the night as well. I must commune. I have a lot to think on.
Gosh, gallivanting's such a hard word to spell.
If everybody else is going to bed.
The bartender's still here, right? He hasn't
The
gone.
bartender's here and he doesn't seem to sleep. At least from what you've observed in the day that you came ahead of everybody else.
I'd like to try to figure out what that chest is while we rest.
So I'm gonna turn to him and say, well, I suppose if you've already revealed his existence, I can ask this openly. I need to make a report to the king.
I am one of the people that can do such. That may or may not be strange to you, considering what you know of the king, but I can do it.
Well, it is strange, but I had already figured it out. There are further questions I'm not sure I want to know the answers to.
Me and the king just so happen to be buddy-buddy.
Yes, that is perplexing, to say the least.
well, I'm at a terrible curiosity, but it seems a subject you'd rather not discuss, so if you'll pardon me, as she offers a polite curtsy. Which room shall I be staying in?
Pick any. The key's in the door.
Thank you. She
Alright,
turns.
it's the same.
She turns towards Lucio. Well, at least now you have time to sort of decompress after this crazy day.
Thank honored mother.
These are the 4 that have been revealed to you thus far.
Cool, thanks. And with that, Annabelle will retire to her room.
During the rest, I almost said an idiot. Ethereal would like to poke at the box that's following Vex around.
Do you actually poke at it, or is it like a theoretical poke? You actually just want to try to do stuff. Very important. Do you poke the box?
Both.
Use a stick.
I think he meant. I assume it's a metaphorical poke.
That's why I am asking, because 2 different things will happen.
Oh.
Use something you don't need to keep.
Well, now you have to do the actual poke. We have to know what happens.
Okay.
Don't listen to me. I'm a bad influence.
Well, I was planning on doing both.
Oh.
Like a theoretical poke and like an actual poke, as in, what is this?
Upon your actual poke, the chest pokes back with a leg.
It's
It's more of a kick, but, yeah.
adorable.
Okay. I question many things.
Excellence.
Hey. Ethereal has a very ancient and refined sense of, cute. You could say it's out of this world.
Hey.
Oh,
Heyo.
boy.
Should I just add another negative brownie
Minus
point?
Yep. Is it your job? Is it your point now to collect them?
No, I just saw it.
He's playing D&D golf.
No, it's just any opportunity I can to vex you, I take.
You know, I'm not even. No, don't even add one for that. I'm not going to be gotten by that one anymore. You need to start throwing some good puns out here, and then I'll give you some positive brownie points.
I'll
You
see
know,
what I
I'm
can
going to
do.
make another cult that spits people with negative brownie points.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
But, yeah, Ethereal.
Yeah.
A leg grows out of the side and kind of kicks you away as soon as you poke it.
Aw. Okay, back to actually studying it and try to figure out how to open it and all that fun stuff.
Oh boy.
But that happens off camera.
Uh-huh.
Yay.
You can end session now! End it right now! Right now! Do it! End!
That's not our decision to make.